I'm John Little, and this is the SHOCKCAST for January 9, 2014. The Second American Revolution versus an EMP. I first wrote about the possibility of an electromagnetic pulse, or EMP, attack against the U.S. way back in 2007. At that time, my concern centered on an attack by an Iran with a messianic desire to hasten the return of the Mahdi. Now I find myself still talking about the possibility of an EMP strike, but from a different direction. An EMP, or a massive solar flare, will probably kill off something like 90% of American society. We are utterly dependent on the national electricity grid and sophisticated electronics, and an EMP would destroy all of that. And everything necessary for human life in our world requires electricity. Your car won't start without it, the gas station pumps won't start without it, the pumps that bring fresh water to your home won't work without it, food distribution can't work without it, your furnace won't work without it, even the ones using natural gas or oil. And if this EMP or solar flare is strong enough, all sophisticated computer electronics will be destroyed also. This means that anything using a computer will stop working. This means every vehicle produced since the 1980s. In fact, everything electronic gets fried. So, would anything work after an EMP attack? Well, yes. Anything that has been shielded from an EMP attack. The problem is that very little is shielded from EMP. Nuclear missiles and most military bases are shielded. Many passenger aircraft are shielded. Oh, and the globalists are shielded. Right. The globalists. Remember when I mentioned that a strong America cannot be allowed to exist when the globalists make their final move to take over the world? Well, I laid out a scenario yesterday in which a pandemic is released that kills off those who aren't vaccinated, and the globalists would have all the vaccine. But there's a problem with pandemics. They often burn out before killing everyone, and it's hard to predict who a pandemic will kill. Not so with an EMP. With just 3 nuclear warheads exploded over the United States, you are almost guaranteed to destroy everything a population needs to survive. And without outside help, up to 90% of the population of North America would be dead within 2 years or less. So if I really wanted to deal a serious blow to the United States, head off American Revolution 2.0, and had 3 nuclear warheads lying around, an EMP would be the way to go. In fact, it appears that this is exactly what they tried to do last year. According to Jim Garrow, elements within the Obama administration attempted to get 3 nuclear warheads and fit them onto 3 short-range missiles capable of reaching the right altitude for an EMP attack. Certain military personnel sabotaged this attempt, destroying 1 warhead and hiding the other 2. Will the next attempt succeed? That's a good question, and we won't know until it does, but you can bet that they will try again. I mean, these are the richest people in the world. Getting 3 nuclear warheads shouldn't cost more than a couple $100 billion, and that's pocket change to these people. So, when they try again, expect them to pre-position disaster relief in those states that would be the most pro-government. Everyone in those areas would be screened, and no one with guns would be allowed any kind of help, unless they gave up their guns. Troublemakers would go off to re-education camps and probably not come back. Remember that they already know how many guns you own and what your political sympathies are. And those areas where FEMA forgot to set up relief centers? Well, mistakes happen. Also, areas full of undesirables would undoubtedly suffer mysterious outbreaks of pandemic disease. Doubly true for those military bases that survived the EMP attack and were known to have commanders with patriotic attitudes. Russian and Chinese troops would probably arrive after the pandemics burned themselves out to help with the relief effort for those few who survived, and they would stick around to ensure the orderly transition of power to a new, more global, political system. Could a second American Revolution succeed under such conditions? It would be frankly impossible. Are you ready for this?